Aboard the massive flagship of the Veridani Armada, the atmosphere was thick with quiet anticipation. This fleet, known throughout the galaxy for its unmatched power and technological brilliance, had long dominated the stars with an iron will and precise coordination. The Veridani were explorers and conquerors, always moving forward to claim new territories, new resources, and new allies to strengthen their hold on the vast reaches of space. Their ships moved like shadows across the starfield, silent but deadly. Each vessel, a marvel of engineering far beyond what many other species could dream of. Yet today, something unusual stirred among the officers on the bridge. Scouts had detected an approaching vessel, one that had not been cataloged in any of their star maps. Ship coming from an unknown origin, heading straight for the Veridani's outermost system. The ship's trajectory was steady and purposeful, unyielding as it closed the distance at a speed that defied expectation. The Veridani commanders gathered around the central display, their eyes scanning every detail as the unknown ship's image grew larger. Buzz of speculation. Every species had heard whispers about the humans' mysterious beings from a distant star cluster who were said to be unpredictable, unyielding, and surprisingly resilient. Yet no one had ever seen a human warship up close, only hearsay and fragments of intercepted transmissions, and their curiosity sparked but mixed with confidence. The alien officers believed their dominance would remain unchallenged. They had faced countless threats before, many far more technologically advanced, and had overcome them all with precision and discipline. Still, the unknown always carried a sting of unease, and the Veridani were not immune to that feeling. Donnie. Their scanners locked onto the vessel. The final confirmation arrived. It was indeed a human ship. Its design was unlike anything the Veridani had encountered. Sleek, angular, with a surface that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, as if it were built not just for war, but for something more profound. The crew exchanged glances, some skeptical, some intrigued. The Veridani were trained to be calm under pressure, yet beneath the surface, a ripple of excitement passed through the ranks. This was a moment that could change everything. The human ship did not emit any aggressive signals or weapons charge patterns. Instead, it approached steadily, broadcasting a simple message in an ancient but widely understood galactic dialect. "We come with respect and caution." The words echoed across the communication channels, a calm but firm statement that unsettled many of the Veridani officers. This was not the typical posture of a species that would back down or surrender easily. The bridge hummed with activity as analysts and tacticians worked to decode the human technology's capabilities, but the initial scans revealed something unexpected. The humans did not rely solely on brute force or overwhelming firepower. Their systems were built for adaptability, efficiency, and precision. Their warship was compact but packed with advanced energy shields, pod response, defense drones, and a command structure that suggested a deep connection between every crew member. The Veridani commanders had always valued strength, but here was a different kind of power, quiet, intelligent, and unwavering. The alien crew's instruments showed no sign of the overwhelming weapons arrays typical of a warship, yet the humans seemed ready to defend their position with an unspoken confidence. As the minutes stretched on, the Veridani Armada maintained a tight formation, their ships shifting silently like a web ready to strike if needed, but no one moved hastily. Every officer understood the weight of the moment. This was more than a simple encounter. It was a test of wills, a silent question posed across the void of space. Could the humans be the first species to truly challenge the Veridani's supremacy? Despite their doubts, the Veridani leaders reminded themselves of their history of the countless battles won through strategy, discipline, and technology. They would observe, learn, and only then decide if force was necessary. For now, the flagship remained steady, its sensors fixed on the approaching human warship. Watching as it crossed into the heart of their domain, the unknown was no longer a distant rumor or a faint signal in the dark. It was here, real and undeniable. The Veridani Armada, known for their cold precision and unyielding ambition, now found themselves facing a mystery wrapped in calm resolve. And as the human ship drew nearer, the alien commanders felt a rare and powerful sensation, not fear, but a stirring of respect. This was the beginning of something extraordinary, a moment that would be remembered long after the stars themselves had faded. The galaxy was about to witness a new chapter, and the Veridani, for all their might, were ready to watch history unfold. The human warship slid smoothly into the Veridani system like a shadow crossing a quiet sea, its sleek form unlike anything the alien officers had ever encountered before. It was built with sharp angles and smooth curves, a design that suggested not just strength but purpose and efficiency. As the ship moved steadily closer, the Veridani crew could feel an almost tangible presence emanating from it, not loud or aggressive, but calm and certain, kind of confidence that did not need to shout to be heard. The human vessel seemed to carry an unspoken message of readiness, as if it knew exactly what it stood for and was willing to face whatever came its way without hesitation. The bridge of the Veridani flagship buzzed with activity, but there was an unusual sense of respect beneath the tension. The alien officers exchanged looks filled with a mix of disbelief and curiosity. Humans were often spoken of in dismissive tones across the galaxy, seen as a species that had only recently joined the interstellar stage and lacked the refined technologies and strategies of older civilizations. Many believed humans were still primitive compared to the Veridani's perfected war machines. Yet here was a human ship, entering their space without fear, without retreat, and with a clear, unwavering purpose. Suddenly, a calm, steady voice came through the communication channels. The human captain spoke in clear, measured tones, delivering a message that was both simple and powerful. We come in peace. We seek no war, but we will protect our home and our values with firm resolve. The words echoed through the Veridani command center, drawing attention and stirring a mix of reactions. Some officers were quick to dismiss the message as typical diplomatic words meant to buy time or confuse their enemies, but others sensed there was something more genuine beneath the surface. The humans did not sound like a species willing to be bullied or intimidated, and their steady tone made the Veridani question their own assumptions. The aliens had always viewed strength as raw power, as the ability to crush opposition through superior weapons and overwhelming force. But the humans' message suggested a different kind of strength, one built on conviction, on unyielding will, and on the readiness to stand firm when challenged. As the human ship settled into orbit around a nearby star, the Veridani sensors revealed impressive technology. The ship was smaller than the massive vessels of the Armada, but packed with systems designed for efficiency and adaptability. Energy shields shimmered faintly across its hull. Defense drones floated silently nearby, and communication arrays hummed with a clarity that surpassed many of the Veridani's own designs. More than that, the human crew seemed to operate with a level of coordination and calm that was unusual. It was clear they had trained not just for battle, but for cooperation, for unity of purpose in the face of uncertainty. The Veridani commanders found themselves unsettled by this. The humans did not react with anger or hostility, but their quiet determination hinted that they were prepared to respond decisively if needed. A strange mix of respect and unease filled the room. The alien officers began to question their earlier assumptions. Could this species really be as primitive as they had thought? And if not, what else were the humans hiding beneath their calm exterior? The Veridani began running simulations, projecting different outcomes if the humans were challenged, or if they chose to defend themselves fiercely. Each simulation brought results that were harder to dismiss: humans adapting quickly, making unpredictable moves, refusing to be cornered or overwhelmed. Despite their advanced technology, the Veridani had never faced an opponent quite like this. The human captain's voice came again, over the coms, this time inviting dialogue. The offer was unexpected, signaling a willingness to communicate openly and avoid unnecessary conflict. Yet the message carried an unmistakable warning. Humanity would protect its own, no matter the cost. This stance, calm yet firm, unsettled many on the Veridani bridge. They were used to facing fear, aggression, and uncertainty, but not this steady courage. The human captain did not seek to dominate or threaten, but there was no doubt they were prepared for any challenge. First time, the Veridani officers felt a growing respect for a species they had long underestimated. They watched closely as the human warship continued its orbit, ready to respond, but unwilling to make the first move. The encounter was no longer just a test. It was the opening chapter of a potential new relationship between two very different civilizations. The Veridani knew they had to be careful. Underestimating humans could lead to unexpected consequences, but rushing to conflict could spark a war neither side wanted. The balance was delicate, the future uncertain. In that moment, the vast cold reaches of space felt smaller. Its two wills met quietly but powerfully, neither willing to step back. The human ship, with its calm confidence and respectful strength, had already begun to change the course of history. And as the Veridani Armada watched, a silent realization spread among them. The age of easy conquest might be coming to an end. The Veridani commanders, still uncertain about the true nature of the humans, decided to test the limits of this unexpected encounter. They could not afford to show weakness in front of their fleet, and their pride would not allow them to simply accept the humans' quiet confidence without a challenge. Small strike teams, sleek and fast, were dispatched from the Armada, designed to overwhelm any opponent through sheer numbers and firepower. The expectation was clear. The human warship would be easily intimidated or forced to retreat. As the first wave of Veridani ships moved into position, their weapons systems locked and ready, the humans did not respond with anger or panic. Instead, their actions were calm, deliberate, and precise. Rather than launching a full assault, the human ship deployed a series of swift maneuvers and non-lethal countermeasures that neutralized the incoming strikes. Energy nets and electromagnetic pulses disabled the Veridani drones and engines without causing harm to their crews. It was a demonstration of control and restraint that caught the Veridani off guard. With every wave sent against them, humans responded with increasing ingenuity, sometimes outmaneuvering the attackers with surprising speed, other times using specialized technology that jammed enemy sensors and communication, leaving the strike teams disoriented but unharmed. The Veridani officers watched in disbelief as the humans turned what should have been a straightforward show of dominance into a lesson in strategy and discipline. The humans' technology was not simply advanced for destruction. It was innovative, designed to protect life even while defending itself. This revealed a deeply rooted value system, one where victory was not just about overpowering the enemy, but about preserving honor and minimizing harm. The Veridani had never encountered an opponent that fought with such balance, combining strength with compassion. The tactics employed by the human crew also reflected an incredible sense of unity. The way the warship operated suggested a crew that was tightly connected, where every member trusted one another and moved as one mind rather than a collection of individuals. Orders were executed with flawless timing, adjustments made in real time to meet the shifting situation. This cohesion gave the human warship a fluidity that the Veridani strike teams struggled to predict or counter. Gradually, a realization began to spread among the Veridani leadership. This was not a species that would break under pressure, nor one that would resort to reckless violence. Instead, the humans embodied an indomitable spirit that combined honor, intelligence, and a willingness to cooperate for the greater good. The Veridani had spent centuries perfecting war tactics focused on destruction and domination. But the humans showed them a different path, one where strength was tempered with wisdom and respect. As the test waves continued, the atmosphere aboard the Veridani flagship shifted from confident superiority to careful analysis. Some officers felt frustration, unable to understand how a seemingly less advanced ship could respond so effectively without the aggressive firepower they expected. Others grew curious, intrigued by the potential of this new adversary, who seemed to hold secrets beyond their understanding. The human captain, calm and collected throughout, made no move to escalate the situation. Instead, each countermeasure seemed designed to send a clear message. Humanity sought to avoid unnecessary conflict, but would protect itself and its values with unwavering resolve. This approach unsettled many in the Veridani ranks, who were accustomed to enemies that either submitted quickly, or fought with ruthless abandon. Here was a species that refused to back down, yet chose to fight with restraint and honor. The strike teams, once confident in their mission, now hesitated, unsure how to proceed. Their tactics, which had crushed countless foes before, seemed ineffective against a foe that combined advanced technology with clever strategy and an unbreakable will. The Veridani Armada found themselves at a crossroads, forced to reconsider their assumptions about power and dominance. The demonstration ended without a single casualty on either side, a fact that weighed heavily on the Veridani commanders. It was clear that the humans valued life, even in confrontation, and that their strength was not just in their machines but in their principles. This revelation planted seeds of respect and caution among the Veridani, reshaping their view of humanity from mere upstarts to worthy rivals. The events marked a turning point, not just in the immediate encounter, but in the wider understanding of what strength truly meant in the galaxy. The human warship had shown that power could be measured not by destruction, but by resilience, honor, and the ability to stand firm without losing compassion. The Veridani Armada now faced a challenge unlike any before: how to engage with a species that refused to play by the old rules and instead offered a new way forward. As the human vessel held its position, ready but peaceful, the Veridani knew that this was only the beginning of a longer journey, one where respect and understanding might one day replace fear and conflict. The galaxy, vast and filled with countless stars, had just become a little smaller, and the future a little brighter, because of this extraordinary demonstration of strength as the tension between the Veridani Armada and the human warship continued to simmer. The human captain took a bold step to ease the growing uncertainty and suspicion. Instead of responding with further demonstrations of power or continued silence, the captain sent a formal invitation to the Veridani commanders, proposing a meeting at a neutral space station located in a quiet region far from any contested borders. The offer surprised many in the Veridani fleet. Such a gesture of openness and trust was rare among species who often relied on displays of strength and diplomacy veiled in threats. After careful discussion, the Veridani leadership agreed, recognizing that this meeting could either deepen the divide or open a path toward understanding. When the Veridani delegation arrived at the space station, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. The station itself was a place designed for dialogue and peace, with transparent observation decks overlooking the endless stars, reminding all who gathered that the universe was vast and filled with possibilities. The human captain greeted the alien leaders with a calm and steady demeanor, embodying the same quiet confidence that had defined the earlier encounter. The meeting began with formal introductions and respectful exchanges, but it was the captain's speech that soon captured the full attention of everyone present. Speaking clearly and with heartfelt sincerity, the human leader shared the story of humanity, a tale of a species that had faced countless challenges, from environmental disasters to internal conflicts, yet had always found ways to adapt, grow, and create something better. The captain spoke of humans' deep respect for freedom, the value they placed on creativity and innovation, and their enduring desire for peace. But the speech also conveyed a warning. While humans sought harmony and cooperation, they were prepared to stand firm and defend what they believed in, no matter the challenge. As the words echoed through the vast chamber, many Veridani officers found themselves moved in ways they had not expected. The story of a species that rose from adversity with hope rather than hatred, that chose to protect rather than destroy, planted seeds of respect and curiosity within their hearts. Some of the younger commanders in particular began to question the old narratives they had been taught, that power was only about conquest and that peace was often just a pause before the next battle. The human captain's message revealed a different path, one where strength was combined with compassion, and where cooperation could lead to greater achievements than domination ever could. Yet, even as the speech inspired many, it also created a silent struggle within the Veridani leaders. They were faced with a difficult choice: continue their relentless expansion into new territories, risking conflict with this unexpected new player, or rethink their approach and consider forming an alliance with a species that challenged their very understanding of power. The internal conflict was palpable. Some argued that showing weakness or hesitation could be disastrous, potentially inviting chaos or rebellion among their own ranks. Others saw an opportunity for growth, a chance to break free from the cycle of endless conquest and explore new ways of coexistence. The room was filled with unspoken tension as each officer weighed their beliefs against the possibility of a future shaped by cooperation rather than conflict. Throughout the meeting, the human captain remained composed, listening carefully to the concerns and questions posed by the Veridani. This willingness to engage honestly and openly only deepened the growing respect between the two sides. Captain's humility, combined with unwavering strength, made it clear that humanity was ready not only to defend itself, but also to build bridges across the stars. By the end of the gathering, something profound had shifted. The Veridani commanders left the space station carrying new perspectives and difficult questions, their minds racing with possibilities they had never before considered. The story they had heard was not just a message of peace, but a challenge to their very way of thinking about power, leadership, and the future of their people. Outside the station, as the stars twinkled endlessly, the human warship waited patiently, a silent promise that the galaxy was wide enough for both old empires and new hopes. The moment marked a turning point, one that hinted at a future where strength was measured not only by weapons or territory, but by wisdom, respect, and the courage to change. And as the Veridani ships departed, many among them wondered if this encounter was the beginning of a new era, where two very different species might find common ground amid the vastness of space. After the historic meeting at the neutral space station, the atmosphere within the Veridani Armada shifted profoundly. The commanders, who had once prepared for an inevitable battle, now found themselves pausing in quiet awe and growing respect. The human warship, once seen merely as an unknown threat, had transformed in their eyes into something much greater. Symbol not just of power or military might, but of hope, resilience, and a new kind of strength that the galaxy had rarely witnessed. The humans had shown that strength was not defined solely by the size of their weapons or the number of ships they commanded, but by their character, their unity, and their steadfast will to protect the values they held dear. This realization spread through the ranks of the Veridani fleet like a slow, steady wave, changing the way they viewed the humans and even themselves. It was clear that this was not a species to be conquered or dismissed, but one to be understood and respected. In the days that followed, the Veridani leadership sent a formal message to the human captain, extending an unprecedented offer of collaboration. They proposed alliances that would allow their fleets to share knowledge, explore new technologies together, and engage in cultural exchanges that could deepen the understanding between their very different peoples. The proposal marked a monumental change in policy and attitude, an open door where once there had only been suspicion and the threat of conflict. The humans received this offer with cautious optimism, recognizing the fragile yet promising opportunity to forge a future built on trust rather than fear. The human captain responded with humility and hope, emphasizing that cooperation was the path to peace and progress, and that the strength of any civilization lay in its willingness to stand together in the face of challenges. As the Veridani and human fleets began to communicate and share resources, something remarkable unfolded. The once vast gap between two worlds began to close, replaced by shared goals and mutual respect. Scientific teams exchanged discoveries that could revolutionize space travel and energy use, while cultural emissaries brought stories, art, and music from their homeworlds, reminding all that beneath their differences lay a shared desire for connection and understanding. This era of collaboration soon rippled beyond the two species, inspiring other civilizations across the galaxy to reconsider their own conflicts and alliances. The story of humanity's first glimpse by the Veridani Armada became a symbol of possibility, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, peace could emerge when courage met compassion. Yet, despite the optimism, both sides remained vigilant. The galaxy was vast and full of unknown dangers, and the fragile alliance was built on trust that would need to be earned every day. The Veridani commanders understood that old rivalries and fears would not vanish overnight, and the humans knew that their resolve would be tested as new challenges arose. But the foundation was a foundation built not on fear or conquest, but on the belief that strength came from unity, respect, and the willingness to protect what truly mattered. For the humans aboard their warship, the mission had grown beyond mere defense. They had become ambassadors of hope, carrying the message that even the most different beings could find common ground among the stars. For the Veridani, it was a chance to redefine their legacy, to move beyond the shadows of endless expansion, and toward a future where cooperation could lead to greatness. As the human ships sailed gracefully alongside the Veridani fleet, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, as if celebrating the dawn of a new chapter in the galaxy's long and storied history. This was no longer just a meeting of warships or a test of strength. It was the beginning of a journey where character, unity, and the shared will to protect the future would shape the destiny of many worlds. And in that vast silence of space, two very different species stood side by side, ready to face whatever the future might hold, not as enemies, but as partners on the endless path among the stars.